Hello. So now it's storage. Wow, we are seeing so much thing wonderful in Windows 10, huh? This is a good place to be to understand all the aspect of Windows 10. So storage. So type of storage. So today you can use a lot of different type of storage, okay? Of course, SSD is the best one because really forget the mechanical hard disk. It's too slow. Wow. In my laptop, I changed it, and when I put an SSD, it was really night and day. So Windows 10 support also VHD disk. This is used in Hyper-V. Okay, so when you are using Hyper-V, you have virtual disk, of course, VHDX or VHD. The difference is that VHDX is more powerful, of course, and they can go until 64 terabytes of hard disk. After you have, more important storage, more expensive one. For example, you have NAS. Okay, so for example, this is a NAS, and you can install also NFS of your Windows server or buy a physical one. But if you have a NAS like this, you just have an IP or a network cable, Wi-Fi, and you just store all your movie or your music on the NAS. It's very known. Okay, one of the most known I know is what was the name of this NAS? Okay, we'll come back after. Doesn't matter. Okay, so you can use protocol like CIFS, SMB, or NFS to access the file on your NAS. Okay, oh, it's Synology. I don't know if you know this one. Synology. Synology. It's very known in the world, Synology. That's it. So it's, this sort of box, and you just, have it at your home. So it's very known, okay? And you just plug hard disk, and you have fantastic software behind that, okay? Okay. After that, you have more powerful but very expensive storage, and the name is SAN. Okay, for more storage area network. Okay, so with SAN, you have a very big, um, storage system, and you can use it. For example, I iSCSI target server. If you can install it on your Windows server or buy a physical one, but it's very expensive. Sign is very high speed network that connect computer system and host server to have high performance. It's block. NFS, it's file, okay? And you have free technology to access a SAN. You have fiber optic, iSCSI, and fiber over internet. Okay, so this is a way that you can buy this very powerful SAN and put all your VHG or VMDK file. Okay, this is amazing. So now let's talk about MBR and GPT, okay? Something that, okay, it's not new because you know it since the beginning. MBR is by default, it's for BIOS, okay? It's not for UEFI. So it's you can have 4 partition, okay? So the MBR is stored on the location on the physical disk, enabling a computer BIOS to reference it. So when you start your computer, the computer examines the MBR and see if it's active. Remember that it's 4 partition max, 2 terabyte, and no redundancy. So this is a problem. That's why you prefer GPT, because it goes away the limitation of MBR. You can have 128 partition per disk, okay, and 18 exabyte of volume size. Wow, this is crazy. You have redundancy, and you can implement GPT on Windows 2008, Windows 10, Windows 8.1, Windows 8, Windows 7, Windows Vista, okay? But you cannot use a GPT partition style on remover disk. Of course, it's an MBR. When you install a Windows on a GPT, these 3 partitions are created. Okay, the first one, you know, that is the EFE. It's 100 meg. It contains the boot manager. You know, when you connect to a VM with EFI, it's not the same thing than MBR, of course. Okay, so I will show you the difference. After you have the Microsoft reserved partition, okay, it's 108 meg. It's reserved for Windows component. Okay, and you have the remaining, it's the operating system. So I will show you the difference between EFI and MBR. So I'm going to create a VM with EFI. Oh, sorry, I did something wrong. Is that I close the connection to my to my server. Doesn't matter. I will connect again. So you will see that UEFI, of course, it's a graphical menu, and MBR is BIOS is very old. So really use UEFI if you want, if you can. This is really better. Okay, so let's create a new VM. I will show you exactly the difference between the MBR and UEFI. So create a new one, and this one will be, the name will be VM UEFI. Okay, so this one, of course, is better because with this one you can have, like the boot, so you can protect your boot. Of course, this is very important, and you have more information about that. Huh? I will show you. So if I go here in Windows, I select Windows 10. Okay, and let's go here to take my hard disk. And here's my setting here. Okay, so I can see all my setting of my VM. So I can see in VM option is that in the boot option it's EFI. Okay, so that's mean that he's using to boot your VM, and this is the best solution. After you have the very old one is BIOS. So you can do secure boot with that. This is very important, very important. So I'm not gonna install an operating system on it. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say to the power management boot option that next time please go to the BIOS. Okay, to the EFI. So we're gonna create one, finish, and let's go on this one and open it. Okay. Now you will see that the menu is not the same than MBR. It's completely different, see? So you don't have the same one. You have some here, but it's very it's boot option here, add boot option, delete. So you see it's really completely different. Configure driver, add driver option, boot from file. Okay, so this is the EFE. So there is nothing inside, but you can enable like I told you, the protection of the boot partition. So let's stop at this one. Let's do a power off, and I will show you now. So let's delete this one. So action, and let's delete the disk here. So delete, and delete this one. Now I'm going to create a new one. It could be the BIOS one. You will see that it's not the same at all, and there is a lot of limitation. Okay, so VM BIOS normal. So put this one, Windows 10. Okay, next. Okay, and VM option, I will use BIOS. Of course, more like MBR, boot option, and here BIOS. Okay, so let's go for the setup. Let's do that and finish. So now if I go on my BIOS here, you will see that now, of course, the setup is like okay, it's really like all the BIOS that since you're doing computer. So it's more like this one. So this one is quite old. See, you cannot do boot secure. Okay, this one, but it's not like like a really a BIOS that you're using every day. Okay, so it's very old BIOS. Okay. Okay. So something very important here. This is for you don't have any issue when you pass from MBR, all these sorts, because it can be a problem. So if your computer is UEFI based, you will need to install Windows on a GPT disk. If your computer is BIOS, you need to install MBR. Therefore, GPT is incompatible with legacy BIOS, and that's why you receive this message saying that Windows cannot be installed on the disk. So if you see the prompt saying Windows cannot be installed on the disk, the selected disk is on the GPT, it's because your PC is booted in UEFI mode, but your hard drive is not configured on UEFI mode. So you can convert MBR to GPT by reformatting the disk. For example, you can go in disk apart, list disk, select disk, and clean and convert GPT. Okay. So now let's talk about basic disk and dynamic disk. Okay. So dynamic disk provides features that basic disk does not, okay? When you create volume that span multiple disks and fault erase volume, dynamic disk can also use MBR GPT. With dynamic disk, you can what? Create and delete spannets, stupid, mirroring, extend a simple volume. You should be aware also about dynamic disk. You cannot convert a basic disk to a dynamic disk unless there is at least 1 meg unused space. You cannot convert a dynamic disk to a basic disk without losing data. Oh my god. You need to delete all dynamic volume on the disk. And disk management automatically converts the disk to basic when you delete the latest volume. And you cannot use Windows PowerShell to manage dynamic disk. That's an issue, okay? How can you see if you have dynamic disk or basic disk, and how can you pass from one to the other? So if I'm here, let's go on the computer that is working correctly, not this one. So let's go on this one. Okay. We'll go on this one, and I will show you the disk that we're talking about. So when you go in disk management here, you will see that by default, your disk is your disk is basic here, okay? So meaning that, of course, I cannot do anything here, okay? So let's add 2 disks to this VM, okay? We'll show you. Okay, so let's go into action and go in my edit setting, and I'm gonna ask, like, if I had, for example, 2 hard disk. So I'm gonna add 2 hard disks. So I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna go on add hard disk, new one. Okay, so it's this one, okay, so 42, and I'm going to add another one. Add hard disk. Okay, so now I have 2 hard disks. So I will do save here. And now he doesn't see that this is normal, because what I must do, I must go on my here action. Oh no, it's here, sorry. So when I do that, when I initialize my 2 disk, 2 or 3, I can use GPT or MBR. Okay, I will use GPT, of course. Okay, now if I want, for example, to change this disk to dynamic, I can go here and I can go and convert to dynamic disk. So I can convert the 2 and the 3. Okay, and now the color will change. Now you will see. Oh no, it doesn't change. Okay, it doesn't matter. And now I can do a lot of things. I can do new spinal volume, new stripper, new mirrored. So I can do two new mirror disks between the 2 and 3. Wow, amazing. So I can add this one, and I can do next. And now what is happening is that I will have 2 disks with like 1, because it's a mirroring. We say it's a red 1. It's not a red 0. Red 0 is stripping. Okay, is when you add a second disk, and of course if one of the disks fell, you have a big problem, big issue. Okay, so let's finish our slide. Manage the disk. You have the disk management, you have the disco part. Okay, you can use disco part. It's more like for scripting, and PowerShell. Okay, so sorry. So you have here disco part. You can run disco part and manage your disk, or you can use PowerShell like get disk, clear disk, or initialize disk. So you have a lot of command that you can use to manage your disk. Disco part is very old. Okay, so for example, if I go here on my computer, I see that now it is doing the mirroring. Okay, so if I go here and I type disco part, I'm like in this software, and now I can list the disk. Okay, so I can do a lot of things. So it's like a like a utility very known, okay, to manage your disk. So I can do help to have all the command. See, so active, I have a lot of things. So if I do list the disk, he will show me all the disks I have. So I can, for example, select disk, let's say 1, oh no, 2, sorry. And now I can list the volume inside my disk. See, so he can show me the volume inside my disk, and after I can do a lot of things on my disk. So I can see all this and TFS, FAT32. So I have all this. Okay, so it's very simple. I can use also, if I don't want to lose disco part, I can use my PowerShell command like get disk or initialize disk or extend disk. So this is PowerShell command. Okay, it's not disco part command. So you can use it if you want to list all information about your disk. Okay, let's start this first part, and after we'll see the second part with manage your storage. Very new feature, very nice with Windows 10. Ciao, ciao.